Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
We will condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
POS operator, she sent 3,000 naira, she wants to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the done thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
And welcome to Open Conversation on Atlantic Television Network. Open Conversation is the network's flagship political platform, through which trending political news, events and stories are discussed with stakeholders. Through these conversations, Atn uses political talks about specific issues, party system and actor to explore hope and engender positive impacts to the society. Today on Open Conversation, we'll look at these stories. First, Ondo State. Governor Ayedetiwa clinches APC Guba ticket amidst PDP mockery. Still on Ondo Guba, Governor Ayedetiwa seeks support of other APC primaries aspirants. And then on to Kano State, APC slams ward ESCOs, call them impostors. Still on Kano State, mass defection from APC to NMPP. And on APC, South-South chairmen unite for Guba victory in Edo, Ondo states. And on politics, Northern Elders Forum not paperweight. Senator Marafa to Matawali. Do not go away. When we come back, we'll delve right into the stories.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are under siege.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
We will condemn this act and call for the immediate release of this minister in the Temple of God.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
POS operator, she sent 3,000 naira, she wants to collect 3,000 naira. Where are we heading to?
I've always said there are two sets of people on earth, the oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the cowards and the hypocrites. Which are you?
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the done thing. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics.
Nobody's ambition is what's the blood.
I have fought very firmly. Natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honorable
you human
on the point of order.
Honorable
They are not picking our calls. They made up their mind.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, Through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics. This will catch on the happenings of Fact Today, only on ATN.
Thank you for staying with us. It's still Open Conversation on Atlantic Television Network. With me on Open Conversation this morning is Dr. Emmanuel Irayanama, a management consultant and social political analyst. Good morning, Dr. Emmanuel.
Good morning, Laurentia. Good morning, listeners.
And I also have with me Barrister Asim Adams, a legal practitioner and a political analyst. Good morning, Barrister Asim.
Good morning to you, Laurentia, Choma, and good morning to you, Doc.
Thank you, my brother.
And on to the story. Governor Loke Adetiwa of Ondo State has secured the nomination of the All Progressive Congress for the forthcoming November 16 governorship election, following his declaration as the party's candidate. Adetiwa clinched the nomination, amassing a total of 48,569 votes in the primaries. His closest contender, Mayowa Akinfolarin, trailed behind with 15,343 votes, while Chief Olushola Oke secured the third position with 14,865 votes. The announcement was made by the chairman of the Governorship Primary Election Committee and Governor of Kogi State, Ahmed Ododo. Following the controversies that trailed the governorship primary election of the All Progressive Congress in Ondo State on Saturday, the state chapter of the opposition People's Democratic Party has described the exercise as a huge charade. In a statement, the PDP Publicity Secretary, Kennedy Perete, said it was evident that the ruling APC cannot control the affairs of the state if it was unable to organize a credible elections for its members. According to the PDP, the governor of Kogi State, Osman Ododo, who led the 7-man APC electoral committee that conducted the primary election, has allegedly caused more havoc than his predecessor, Yahaya Bello, who incidentally chaired the same primary election in the state 4 years ago. Perete said the overhyped All Progressive Congress governorship primary election in the state turned out to be a huge charade and a mockery of democracy in every sense of the word. 4 years ago, former Kogi State Naira Fraud presided over a similar event in Akure, where none of his aspirants cited the delegate for 171,922 of their members. They should perish the idea of presiding over the affairs of Ondo State beyond the 8 years in which they have practically stagnated the state. Now, Dr. Emmanuel, what is your take over, first of all, Adetiwa clinching the nomination ticket amidst protest of the other aspirants, and then PDP coming out to mock the entire process?
First and foremost, I do not expect anything otherwise.
Okay.
By the Nigerian political scene, it's almost a given that a primary conducted wherein the incumbent is an aspirant is a given. Mark my words, I said, by the Nigerian political system, so that you don't go and say that it's supposed to be a standard. But having said that, it's also very funny. I also do not expect anything else from PDP. I thought they would have done something slightly otherwise. If you say this was exactly what happened the last time and they used that to win you, perhaps that is APC strategy.
And it's working for them.
Perhaps it is APC strategy. The strategy is to create a situation of chaos and use that chaos to win a general election. So be it. What's politics? Grab power. That's what politics is. So, but
okay,
no matter how elections in Nigeria is conducted, there will be complaints. When I said I wasn't surprised, first was the fact that we know the history between the former governor's supposed camp and the incumbents, from when he was sick to when he passed on, and the intrigues that have played. Of course, yesterday we also heard his wife describing the whole process too as a charade. And of course, if you given that, you will find all of that. Now, the one of the aspirant that's actually at the topmost making all the noise for me, oh, not noise, complaints as it were, is okay. Okay has been, as long as Ondo State is concerned, for virtually all elections they've conducted in Ondo State recently, he has been an aspirant. So he knows the water very well. So I'm also sure that he's contesting now too. He knows that the probability of him also clinking the ticket will have been very little or not there, as it were. Here he came out third from what the results they've organized showed. I pray the governor understands all of these intrigues and then work around to ensure that, because as of today, that their party has almost all the other states apart from is it Oyo, where this gentleman is the governor, where PDP is. APC has almost the whole of the West. Okay. So they need just to be careful so that they don't lose another one to the opposition party or any other party. But generally speaking, Nigerian politicians should learn to accept situations when they arise. Acrimonies in parties shows how much coercion exists in parties in Nigeria. We need to walk around it to see parties speaking in one voice. By what is happening, there is serious danger. But given history...
Why do you say there is serious danger?
Ordinarily, if there is no coercion in a party, there's a danger. Okay. Just that, given the history, from what PDP had just analyzed to us, that was what happened 3 years ago, as it were, during the former governor's primaries and elections. Perhaps, for me, that's APC strategy.
All right. Barrister Sims, what do you think of this whole scenario in Ondo State APC Guba primaries?
Thank you very much. There's nothing new. This has been the way they operate, not just APC, PDP, and all political parties in Nigeria. When I say political parties, I even say that with a pinch of salt. Would I take them seriously? Because honestly, they are not political parties. I told you last time that these are trading organizations and companies who come together under one particular umbrella or canopy to behave as if they are political parties. But they don't operate like a political parties. They are just registered with INEC as a limited liability companies to kind of plunder the space. Now, coming to this particular statement from PDP, I'm not surprised. And those who read marketing, we know what they say, they call it ambush marketing. I think that is what they are trying to do, coming out to be relevant in Ondo State when it's not your business how and what other method the party used to conduct their primaries. The courts have stated in a litany of decided cases, even up to the Supreme Court, that the way and manner political parties conduct their primaries is within the ambit of their constitution and whatever procedure they have. The only area that the courts will come in and interfere is where there's breach of fundamental human rights to one of the aspirants, etc. So if they like, they carry the ballot boxes, they do what they call direct primaries or indirect primaries. Of course, the Electoral Act is very clear. You have 3 modes of primaries: consensus, direct primaries, and indirect primaries. So anyone you want to adopt, it's left to you. Nobody will force to do that. The second one is that as you conduct your primaries, you invite INEC, the commission, and its rep must be in your primaries to look at how it is conducted. Once you keep to these rules, if you let PDP shout from rooftops, nobody is going to listen to them, because the court have said that anybody that is interfering in the affairs of another political party, like what they are trying to do now, to call it a sham, it is as the case may be, the court described them as busybodies on those states, and I don't think anybody can do anything about that. But lastly, I hope it does not snowball into the Edo situation.
Ondo State. Let's go on to the news story, still on Ondo State. Governor Loke Adetiwa of Ondo State has extended an olive branch to his 15 co-contestants in the last Saturday's governorship election in Edo State. He and Kogi State Governor Ahmed Ododo declared him winner of the primary election, asked them to join hands with him to build the state. He won the primary election in the 16 of the 18 council areas of the state, polling 48,569 votes. Honorable Mayowa Akinfolarin came second with 15,343 votes, while Chief Oke came third with 14,195 votes. Ayadetiwa in a speech said that democracy sometimes, after a contest like this, comes with discordant tunes. He, however, noted that this was not time to hold grudges against anyone, but for all of them to come together to work for the success of the party so as to remain in power. Now, Barrister, you talked about these issues snowballing into Edo crisis if care is not taken. Now, during the elections, remember that at some point Governor Dodo came out, that was Saturday, to declare that the election was inconclusive.
Yes.
And they would finish it up on Sunday.
On Sunday, yes.
And do not also forget, you also recall that this election, the primary APC primaries in Ondo State, was also marred with some level of violence, especially in Okitipupa local government area. Now, while this was going on, in the midst of this whole drama, the aspirants now came out to say that they passed vote of no confidence on Governor Dodo. The same thing that played out with Governor Hope Uzodinma in Edo State. Now, you mentioned that there might be similar crisis if care is not taken. What do you think can be done? And from all indications, because for now, the aspirants have not come out after the declaration to say anything, do you think this is the silence before the storm?
I believe so. I think that is like you aptly put the word silence before the storm. I think I agree with you somewhat. But you see these elections of Saturday or Sunday, if you look at the results of the three major candidates, each of them scored above 14,000 votes. Each of the three front runners, from what I saw, you understand? The governor scored 15,000 something. Olusholo Oke scored 14,000 something. The other gentleman or woman, scored another 14,000 plus. So that tells you that the election was, closely contested and fiercely contested. Now, if we say that these figures are as close as they are, whether the elections or the primaries took place in a normal atmosphere, credible atmosphere or not, or concocted figures as the case may be, I think it must take people like Pythagoras, to come together and give us those kind of figures that are very simulative. 14, 14, 15. So it's very close. So I believe that with this kind of closeness, nobody is going to sit at home and be saying, no, I didn't win that election. Because if you calculate the difference, it's just 500 votes. That is what the winner used in defeating all of us. I don't think it's going to be. Maybe there should be, if you reduce the number and I go to court, maybe I'll get the ticket. Now, but how do they go forward without causing or exacerbating the situation that is already rife, very close to violence? Because I say that, why I'm so scared of Ondo State is that Ondo State is a political gunpowder. It's a keg of gunpowder in Nigerian politics, nay, Southwest politics. Because some of us should remember what happened in 1979. We should also remember what happened in 1983, especially. If you will go back to just the post-independence era, you find that that Southwest problem, where the cooperation wet here, really started from Akure, this axis, Akure, Oshogbo axis, and all those things. So, you see, Ondo State is a very volatile political place in the whole of that Southwest. Now, if you look at as it is now, they are not gearing and say, look, I want this, I want that. I wanted to share the sword, and I'm very happy the governor had come out openly and very quickly so to even douse the tension and say, look, I am extending a hand of friendship to the rest 2 of us or 3 of them. Let's come together and work together. I think that is the only thing that you can achieve peace. Peace is not achieved by violence. Peace is only achieved by if you use peaceful method also, as the case may be. Now, if you look at the APC constitution, for which I have seen and I have read, they said all grievances emanating from these primaries, you have an appeal panel. You don't go to court directly, first of all. You have to appeal. You get your lawyers to petition that particular appeal panel of the party. They will look at it. If they look at it and they see merit in your case, they can go ahead. The Constitution of APC gives them the power to nullify that particular primaries and reschedule or conduct other primaries, but just to inform INEC that this is what they are going to do. So you have a window of opportunity for you to do what? Make peace. So don't begin to go out and incite your followers to carry arms and begin to create violence all over the place. So you go on appeal first on the APC primaries appeal. If you lose there's an open option, which is the last option for you to go to court. You can go to court, and no matter how long it takes, the court will give a decision that may destabilize what is happening. What got the fact that the resultant effect of their primaries, of how PDP conducted their primaries in Plateau State, the court nullified, that PDP primaries. Follow the governor so that there will be no more problems.
All right. Dr. Emmanuel, when you were speaking earlier, you talked about cohesion. You raised concerns around the possible lack of cohesion in Ondo State within the ranks and file of APC. Now, during the election, this primary election on Saturday, one of the aspirants, Edema, was very primaries committee chairman, Governor Ododo, about the validity of that particular primaries. Now that there is a winner, do you see cohesion? Is it possible that the governor, having extended an olive branch, that these aspirants will accept a form? So why would someone spend so much money, up to 50 million naira, to buy a form, and then, the primary is displayed so far since he became the governor?
That's talking.
He was not able
it's expected.
He was not able to galvanize even.
No, he cannot at that time. At that moment. Or saw that there was a possibility of them being president of Nigeria. They got him there to bargain. And some of them are ministers today. They came in to bargain. So then are big time contractors, and we're talking right now. They came in to bargain to get something.
Their analysis, some of these aspirants know from get-go that
of course, all of them cannot be, first and foremost. The whole 15 or 14 of them that happen everywhere, you saw how, to a large extent, the Ondo APC Wahala has been resolved. To a large extent.
Those states?
Yes, to a large extent. A few persons are still writing what they're fighting. But what they also do is, like we have in employer-employee relationship, we have what we call a willing servant and a willing man. Comparison. In this new camp, what will be my position? As compared to my acceptance with him and reaching this XYZ agreement. All of that are what a typical politician will likely to be easier to galvanize now than it was some 7 months ago.
All right.
6-7 months ago. It will be easier now. Because anybody talking to the next person now will be showing the person on the ground. Then, for the wife, there is more sentiment.
It was personal.
So you understand, except for those of them that have certain personal things. But as politicians, being who they are, it's easier for cohesion to come to be. Except Aitawa does not know what to do.
All right. But Barrister Sims,
yeah.
there seems to be a transition in the Nigerian political system as Nigerians and politicians also are becoming politically aware. There appears to be a transition from strictly political support to individual support. So you see a situation where politicians clearly, even though they are part of a political party, they have serious interest in somebody in another party they feel can deliver. A lot of politicians and Nigerians who were members of PDP, APC, NNPP alike, massively voted for the presidential Labour Party aspirant, P2B. The 2023 presidential election appeared to
and conquer. But with his exit, you found out that we do not really have a man like Akere Lulu with such solid character that could hold firm or stand firm, and the rest will bow down and if possible pay obeisance, to his aloofness and Olympus height. Now, Olushola Oke has been a man who's been very active, like a popcorn, in the fry pan. He's been jumping up and down. He was once in PDP. Then he now he left PDP and came back to APC. So it's a man that I believe can create some miasma and problem and earthquake somewhere. Don't forget that you have a young man called Jimoh Ibrahim. Jimoh Ibrahim, apart from his being a senator in the Federal Republic of Nigeria, is a money bag. He's a billionaire by all standards. And not just being a billionaire, he's a colonizer with people at the helm of affairs and power in Nigeria here. He has the ears of the president because the president, the ruling party, told him that they want Ondo to remain APC. And when they were holding that stakeholders meeting, the president invited Jimoh. I think Jimoh led that delegation, to him, not knowing that he was going to contest this particular election. But I think he lost in what we have seen now. So these are people that can command some influence. Olushola, as it is, I doubt if he will still remain solid and not dissolve into another party, or because PDP, I don't know if PDP are going to their primaries together. He might leave because at the point in time he's a very restive candidate. I believe he will pull his supporters out if care is not taken and things are not going out to any political party and give a challenge, to Ayedatiwa of APC if he stands. For Jimoh Ibrahim also, he has the political connect that he can leave APC to Labour Party, to even SDP as against me, because SDP is a popular party in Ondo State too. Labour Party is a popular Labour party in Ondo State. By virtue of the mimicos as at that time who came and established Labour Party, even when Labour Party was not well known as at that time, Mimico won the seat of governor of Ondo State by virtue of Labour Party. He was the first governor of Labour Party extraction. Even P2B was a baby at that time when Mimico won that election. He was never a part of a Labour Party at that time, but Mimico was able to do that. So Labour Party is on the other side. So if a man like Jimoh Ibrahim should go to Labour Party, I'm very sure that the influence of Mimico, even though he has gone back to PDP, can still play a role and maybe bring back, the convergence of all the tributaries of his interest and pressure to Labour Party, and I say let us get a Jimoh Ibrahim or Olushola to contest under our platform as if we cannot challenge, as the case may be. And if you look at the voting pattern of Ondo State, in Ondo State, in the days of UPN, there is no campaign you do that will make them change their minds to say they are going to follow another character that is different from the UPN candidate called Obafemi Awolowo or Michael A. Jackson, as the case may be. Then we are cutting for trouble. So I believe that Ondo State will go to APC, but there's going to be a fight. And that fight is going to come from this, they call them the undecided. Those people they call undecided, they're only just floating around, moving around the street corners. If you bring money for them, they will take. If you come and preach to them, they will listen to you. But at the end of the day, what now determines where to sway to is the highest bidder that comes to them. They now flow and join with other people and can create a problem for the ruling party in Ondo State. But there's not much to, think about in Ondo State. I don't really think all this, whatever I've said, will really play out if the governor, stand his ground. Like in Nigerian political party and ecosystem, the firmament here is that every man has a price. I have seen a situation where we work, strenuously, assiduously to get there with a particular candidate. At the end of the day, today is the person is playing other politics different from what we believed in, not quite up to a year. Even that the person is aligning with government.
Again, another bunch of non-APC members who announced the purported suspension. A statement issued on Sunday and jointly signed by the chairman and secretary of Ganduje Ward in Dawakin, Ahmed Mohammed Ganduje, and Hussaini Jibrin respectively, indicated that as authentic executive members, no new election was conducted by the state or national body of the APC to herald a fresh leadership. To the best of our knowledge, they said, as executive members of Ganduje Ward of the APC, there was no new election of new leadership of our party. We remain the same executive of the ward, the statement added. It was said the sponsored group couldn't do their homework properly by using a fake or uncertified headed paper on which they drew a list of non-existing party executives. To worsen the situation, leader of the group who announced the purported suspension is an NNPP member who contested but lost councillorship election in Ganduje Ward, the statement said. The executive members therefore called on the national leadership of the party and security agencies to facilitate the arrest and prosecution of the group for impersonation. Now, Dr. Emmanuel, a lot is going on in Kano State. In fact, as it stands right now, there are 3 ward executive factions. There are 3 right now. And ironically, the recent faction that came out, was headed by Ganduje's nephew. And he also suspended Ganduje. And APC is still coming out to call them imposters. And
first and foremost, party executives from ward, state, and national. Parties are not things that float. So to say you are either a member of a party or not a member of a party is deposited somewhere. So I'm not interested in all of that rubbish. Anybody can. We knew how Secondus was released as a member of PDP from Andon local government area. It's a very simple thing. I can purchase anybody. Barrister said something that was interesting here. He said in politics in Nigeria, what rules is your price. So you can get anybody. That's not a problem. The only area I have worry is the part where leaders allow themselves to be tied around controversies and they still want to remain with it. That's where I have problems. Perhaps because in our climb here, political parties do not seem to, we have said it several, and I've always said it, seem to have an ideology. Otherwise, no party should keep somebody who has so much around his head or neck. Because it demands that he excuses himself until he cleanses himself. But that's not to say you use illegality to pursue what will ordinarily seem to be a legal cause. That's not to say that. So there are 2 things for me here. One, as of today, what does Ganduje represent? And what impact does that have on the political party he's leading? The other one is, the way and manner you're pursuing it, how legal is it? Who are you really? The party is the one who needs to tell anybody who her ESCO is, or member is. In fact, as a supposed card-carrying member, and some members were brought from behind to take over the entire ESCO. And the court accepted it. When they started having problems, they started telling us how they did it.
But it has achieved this.
It has achieved its purpose. So our security agencies need to be very careful and know how to stop these kind of things. But it's snowballing into something very funny. I'm aware that as of today, like him or leave it, Ganduje seems to be a strong force in Kano State. And say, are you sure you're in this party? But as it is today, they are mere vehicles to acquire power. They are mere vehicles to have opportunity to put their hands into the national team. They are mere vehicles to have a structure to, okay, that's what they are fighting for every other place, to occupy seats. We must be able to move away from that and then begin to do the right things so that Nigerians and indeed Nigeria may be joking with what is happening in APC in Kano as of today. But that's what they call, not really boomerang, that's what they call that what happens in A, happening in B, happening in C, happening, and in fact, happening all over our politics if we're not very careful. It has taken this slightly bigger face. But we knew it happened in Edo State. It happened in River State. They do Adam Soshomole. We knew how that was concocted and it happened. Until he was able to go to court finally and pull it out. By the time he pulled it out, actually he has already been pushed out of the party. So, but we need to be careful. Because these kind of things have... The world is watching us. And it's funny. If indeed these are not party members and they are sponsored by any other person, it also means that any other person could also sponsor any other person to do it to the next. So, what kind of society, what kind of country, what kind of political system are we building? We need to actually be very, very careful. And our security agencies need to help us.
All right. All right, but Barrister Sims, what is your take? But interestingly, you know, when the first faction came out to suspend Ganduje, the local government council, you know, quickly suspended them, and then they were backed by the state working committee. And the state working committee did a press release where they supported them and said that they nullify that suspension, and they are also suspending the ESCOs for anti-party activities. And in fact, the allegation at that point was that they were romancing with the NMPP. That was the allegation and the basis for the suspension. Then shortly after, less than 24 hours by the way, another faction came out to now announce that they are the legal ESCOs, and these other persons are impostors. In fact, that they are from NMPP. That was how the story of NMPP, being a part of NMPP, started flying. Now the question would be, does it mean that the local council does not know their members? Does it mean that the state working committee does not know? Because if the state working committee and the local council suspended them, what it means by implication is that they actually acknowledge them to be ward schools, hence the suspension on the ground of anti-party activity. Then why suddenly recant what they said and now agree with this second faction that they are actually impostors? Because the whole thing has turned to an embroidery. So please, Barrister Sims, I want to know what you think about the debacle in Kano State.
The Kano fiasco, well, I don't know whether to call it a fiasco, or I would say that I will use the word of, Albert Camus, the French philosopher that talked about a theater of the absurd. Which later became a team play that these movie stars and movie producers had to, do a film on it. A theater of the absurd by Albert Camus. He's a philosopher in his book. Now, that is what I'm saying here. Because he's using that as an opportunistic method, because he knows that Talakawa movement of Aminu Kano is there. They make up about 80% of Kano population. Politics or no politics. Now, if you go to Kano, you see them, they, even as Aminu Kano is long gone, they still converge in this man's house. They still converge in Balarabe Musa's compound every day. and some other members, Abubakar Rimi and the rest of them. These Talakawa still converge there on a daily basis to pray for this repose of those demise of the dead people, as case may be. So he just came in there and tapped into that Ganduje. That is the battle that is going on right now. Now, Kwankwaso found that NNPP is now or has now become a regional party with no national outreach. NNPC cannot even cross that river Benue to this side of the divide, even as the case may be. So he now felt that he needed a larger platform for him to seek and vent his ambition come 2027. So, and he's tired of going to PDP. So he felt APC will be the better option for him. He has been trying to come to APC. But before he knew what was going on, he heard that Ganduje has been made the chairman of APC. So he felt, this man is trying to block my move from returning to APC and contest and see if I can get something from there. That is where all this, he orchestrated and choreographed all this that you are saying. Now, it is allowed in politics because politics is a concentric circle of intrigues. Backstabbing is allowed. Conspiracies against persons are allowed. You understand? You can blind your friend in politics. You can take out your friends. You can quack. The so-called quacking is allowed in politics, as the case may be. But at the end of the day, your interest is paramount. And that is why you find that when they finish do all this, they still come back to do what again? Hug themselves, as the case may be. So it's allowed. So he started doing this that to destabilize the Ganduje camp. He wants to take out Ganduje because if Ganduje is suspended from the party as the chairman of APC, did that thing, said it's not the one, and brought a letter to show the whole world where the man now recanted and said he does not know who is using his signature and using his name to go about all these things. We thought that is all. That is why Forest Smoker differentiated the Adams Oshomole case from the Ganduje case. He now said in his words that the people who are purportedly saying they want to remove Ganduje from the world level are not even members of APC. That those who remove Oshomole, like Michael Eshowo in Edo State, Oshomole's world chairman, was a bona fide member of APC who had a card and registration of APC, whatever his case may be. So that was how Oshomole had to go. Even when he went to court, he now found out that these were bona fide members. But in this case, the NNPP, likewise the other one, that we should forget about what is going on. But the question I've asked is this: APC, knowing full well that this one not your members, because you have your roles of members, what are you supposed to do? Like Dr. Riley said here, you should have called in the police to arrest people for impersonation, forgery, etc. as the case may be. These are criminal offenses. Then you see that once you do this, the rest will now run away. But you have not done that. You still sanctimonizing, on the pulpit of politics to say they are not our members. That is not enough. To even add insult upon this injury, for which these people have not even taken their minds to, because I am legally very alert. Anything that has to do with legalities, etc., I follow it. A Kano High Court now did what? Recently, so that you can have a semblance of sanity in your... None of them has done that. Finally, I asked the legal department of APC, and I said, this ought to be your duty. Sumoto, you don't even need the chairman to give you approval to go and apply. But you're still staying there. So Ganduje has a problem, and he has what he has to answer to whatever is going on. To tell you why I'm getting very scared for Ganduje is this: the president of Nigeria, which is the ruling party, and is the leader, let me use the word, Alpha and Omega of APC. If the president makes a pronouncement today, I think these are the areas I look at. I have more, but because of time, I will leave it there, because the point is this: APC has become a mechanic for confusion in some of the ways they do their things. A lot of Philistine carpetbaggers reside in that political party. I don't know why they allow them to be, because power in Nigeria is what is a super glue to people of different hue and cry. If I want to join APC today and I have an opportunity, I will just leave my Labour Party and run to them and say, I am now an APC member. Before you know, I begin to create problem in my state where I come from, as far as I have in 2027. That's what I feel.
So, in your opinion, what is playing out in Kano State is a case of the voice is the voice of Jacob.
Absolutely, it's Kwankwaso and Ganduje.
At the end of the day, all right.
That's it.
On to APC, chairman of the All.
With the only government saying that they will galvanize, I don't know where they want to galvanize the fund from. None of them can go to Edo to say they are voting. They are not card-carrying members in Edo for election purposes or Ondo. So it won't work. The best they can do is that they will generate fund and send to that aspirant
to support the campaign.
And I've looked keenly. At the chairman I saw there, and I'm saying it's on national TV. I don't know how much any of them wants to bring for that kind of thing. The governor of Cross River should tell us that yes, he wants to, like others have done. After 2015 election meeting with a pinch of salt, but this as it is won't bring anything. We're here when the governor that went to, was it I think Ekiti State, was held at the wanting to use Cross River State money to play politics outside Cross River State and stop deceiving us.
All right. But Barrister Sims,
yeah.
What is your take on this meeting by the South chairman headed by government?
You see, my take on this is that politics is about interest, it's about aggregation. And politics is about sentiments and about selling yourself. That's the first thing, advertising yourself. Now, for me, the meeting is apt. It might not be that they came together to converge for the purpose of